Super Bowl 58 is just a few days away. Will the Chiefs get another ring? We discuss Patrick Mahomes' legacy, Andy Reid, and much, much more, plus our predictions for Super Bowl 58.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to a Wednesday edition of Locked On NFL. I'm James Rapien. He is Chris Carter. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow wherever you get your podcasts. And this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Chris, we're just a few days away from Super Bowl 58 in Vegas. It is huge. And, well, Patrick Mahomes has a chance to get ring, not one, not two, but three. This is his fifth Super Bowl appearance already, which is just wild. It's wild. And there's a lot of talk, legacy talk. I don't know where exactly we should begin when it comes to Patrick Mahomes and where he fits because he's done it so quickly. But let's broaden this a little bit when it comes to these Kansas City Chiefs. Are they a dynasty? Are they one win away from a dynasty? Do they have to win again next year? Because they're one win away from repeating as champs and the first repeat champ since the Patriots in the early 2000s.
They need one more win. They need to win one more to be a dynasty with this crew. My general rule has always been 3 makes a dynasty. And once you go from there, then because if you say, winning 2 in an era is a dynasty, well, then the Steelers were a dynasty in the late 2000s, and they weren't. They were a very good team. But to me, a dynasty, when you win 3 in like a span of like 6 years, that's dynasty talk. Like half a decade, you crushed that part of the decade, or in that span. And the Chiefs, they make no mistake, they've been one of the best teams ever. But you know what? If you're going to try to say, well, they've made the Super Bowl 5 times, that's enough. Well, the Bills made 4 straight Super Bowls. What made them not a dynasty is they didn't win any of them. And for the Chiefs, I think you got to win that 3rd ring and then you cement it. And I'm sure there's some people out there that will say it's already a dynasty. They've won. They've been to 5, 1, 2. If they lost this one, they'd be fine. But I think that right now, when you look at these Chiefs, they're also doing it a different way than they did their first time around when they won it. And they aren't the same exact team, but there's a lot of that core that's still there. Kelsey and Mahomes at the center of it. But I think that if they want to be that dynasty, they've got to win this one. Because as we'll talk about in a little bit, it's not a guarantee that you're just going to keep doing this. I think people think about the Patriots and they say, well, they were there all the time, but the Patriots also had a span of like a decade where they weren't the champs. And, that's why they were 2 different dynasties, one in the early 2000s and then one in the late 2010s. And those are different entire teams outside of Brady and Belichick. And I think that if this crew wants to do it, they've got to win here because it's not a guarantee that they're going to be back here next year. And then who knows how much longer Kelsey has.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of questions there about the Chiefs, and we can get into those. I think, and it's the same logic I used when the Bengals got here a few years ago. Yeah, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are young. It's really hard to get back here. And
Dan Marino went to his first ever Super Bowl, never got back.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard. And ask Tom Brady how hard it is. That's why he was jumping up for joy on the sideline after the Malcolm Butler interception, because he's like, man, these Giants were thorns in my side. And he had the torn ACL and he had the record-breaking year, and it didn't matter because they didn't go undefeated. They lose to the Giants. Like, it's hard. It's challenging. And I think the 49ers, by the way, have a real shot to win this game. I think they're the better team. That doesn't mean I'm picking them to win. I think they are the better team. And so, yeah, I think if you're going to get back again, because this team, as different as it is, and you're right, it is different. This isn't the best Chiefs team.
No.
It's the best defense.
Yeah.
But this isn't defense. This isn't the best. By the way, this isn't the best we've seen Patrick Mahomes play. They're asking him to take care of the football. That is like saying drive the speed limit in insert whatever awesome. It's got to be
a Lambo.
So insert. Yeah, I just, to me, they're really good, but they found a way to get here in a year where it's not their best year. And by the way, they may take advantage of it. And if they win the Super Bowl, then I would have a hard time debating 5 Super Bowls in 6 years, 5 Super Bowl appearances for Patrick Mahomes, and you win 4 or you win 3 of them. Oh, no, it would be 3 and 4 years, right? Am I wrong here? I got it wrong. 3 and 4. I'm adding one too many. 3 and 4 years. That's pretty darn good, man. It's pretty darn good.
I mean, that's the thing, is that like no one's if they win this year, no one's denying them anything. I think it's just that when you do win, you want to be able to, when you win 3, that's it here. But also, I mean, if they lose this one, you're talking about they won one in 2020, they won one last year, and then they would have lost one this year. So I mean, it's whereas they've been in the conversation, they've been at the top, all the times in each of those past 5 seasons. You're talking about 2 wins in a 5-year span. Again, that's something that Ben Roethlisberger did at the early part of his career, and that's not the same as getting 3 like the Patriots did, or like the Steelers of the 70s did, the Niners of the 80s did, the Cowboys of the 90s did. Those are different. That's when we've come to, as sports, come to appreciate dynasties. The Bulls, the 2 times that they three-peated. I think that's what we're talking about here historically, in comparison to other dynasties.
The 3 and 5 makes them an AFC dynasty if they get it done. I still think even that, if you complete this and you do 3 and 5 years, that's 60%. If you divide it up, that's really good.
No, yeah.
Is it there? And I think the key, and we can get into this, the key to really cementing them as, Steelers 70s, Patriots early 2000s, Patriots again, is continuing it. And can they continue it? Will Travis Kelce continue to play at a high level? Will this defense, by the way, continue to evolve the right way? So there are questions about the Chiefs, and we will talk about the 49ers, I promise. We'll do that and so much more coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash is perfect for you, me, Jake Lisco, and, well, everyone. Why? Because you can get the food that you want without having to lift a finger. Well, you have to lift one to download the DoorDash app and plug in your order from your favorite restaurants. And maybe it's a local place like City Bird, somewhere that I have delivered and I use DoorDash to have delivered every single week. And that spicy chicken sandwich, it's worth it. Try it. Thank me later. But whether it's the big game this weekend and you don't want to leave at halftime, maybe you're really into that halftime show with Usher, which I get, that's my generation for sure. Well, DoorDash can help you with snacks, with your favorite food, whether it's pizza, wings, soda, burgers, anything in between. DoorDash has it. I use DoorDash multiple times on the road during the Bengals season as well, because I didn't have a car where I was at. So guess what? DoorDash comes in handy. And right now, you're going to get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and use code LOCK23 on your first order. Again, don't forget to download the DoorDash app and use code LOCK23 for 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. Subject to change. Terms apply. Today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is it's daily fantasy the way it should be. Let's be honest. It is awesome. And the way Prize Picks works, it's simple. With the big game this weekend, you could take Patrick Mahomes and say he's going to throw for less than his projected number of passing yards. You could say Isaiah Pacheco is going to run for more than his number of rushing yards. I kind of like that combo. Anyways, you put those together and boom, you can win up to 25 times your money. You don't have to worry about sharks, all these thousands of different other players going against you like you do in other daily fantasy leagues. It is you versus Prize Picks, you versus their projections. So get in the game today. I love Prize Picks, and you will too. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100.
We're back here on the Locked On NFL podcast. Chris Carter, James Rapine, we're fighting over the buttons to put up the right banners. But in all seriousness, James, let's talk a little bit more about this game itself. Because we talked a lot about the Chiefs, but I'm sure a lot of Niners fans like, what about us, man? The Niners released a whole video like, it's us against the world. Nobody believed in us. I'm like, bro, everybody believed you were favored in literally every game that you played. But are the Niners being talked down about? Because I think a lot of people are focusing on the Chiefs and their dynasty and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and everything there. But it's like we said from you and I were doing shows at the beginning of this season. The Niners were easily a favorite, top to bottom. Their roster, their quarterback, plays efficiently. Their wide receivers are talented. Their offensive line can dominate you. They have one of the best the best running back in football right now. They have one of the best tight ends in football right now. You have a defense that can kick butt at so many different levels. Why shouldn't they be favored? And James, you even said they're the best team between these two. But why are we talking about them like they might be the underdogs somehow and the Chiefs might be the team to win this game?
Because Patrick Mahomes is a bad man, and that defense is for real in Kansas City. And when you put elite quarterback, high-end defense, and youngster at quarterback that has clearly had some playoff issues this year, slow starts, looked like the rain was just going to tear apart their season when it came to Brock Purdy. A slow start against Detroit. The doubt creeps in. But the more and more I look at this game, Chris, are we sure the Chiefs are going to be able to stop Christian McCaffrey, who is the best? He's the best weapon on the field, including what some may think is the greatest tight end of all time in Travis Kelce. That's fine. It doesn't matter. You ain't Christian McCaffrey, my man. You aren't. Not right now, not present day. Christian is insane. And so when I look at that, and I look at Trent Williams, who's the best left tackle in the game, and Deebo Samuel, who is as good with the ball in his hands as any player in the NFL. And then you have a guy in Brandon Ayuk, who I think has emerged as a true number one wide receiver. Deebo's a weapon. I think wide receiver-wise, though, Ayuk is that number one wide receiver on this team. They're loaded. I didn't even get into the defense. They have some studs. And so I think they can absolutely win this game. The thing that they need to do that they haven't done in recent weeks, they have to get off to a good start. You cannot look up and be down the way Lamar Jackson was down against the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are holding on for dear life in that game. And if you're the 49ers and you get the edge early, I think that's going to go a long way, because it's going to open up things for that offense, and it's going to be I'm excited for this game, and I think the 49ers have a great shot.
But see, here's where listen, I love the Niners. They're playing very well. But this is where I'm a little worried, because you said if they get out front, how have they won their two playoff games this year? They've had to come from behind.
They have.
They let the Packers get out ahead of them. They let the Lions get out ahead of them.
Way ahead of them.
Way ahead. If Dan Campbell just kicks a field goal, maybe we're not even talking about the Niners today. But those two comebacks, were impressive. They cannot afford to let that happen to the Chiefs, because the Chiefs not only have a better defense than those two teams, but they have a quarterback who will know how to manage those situations and hold on to that lead, as you saw with the Ravens. And the Ravens, they had some things go against them too. They fumbled at the goal line, but again, the Chiefs defense, they're very good. They're the number 2 defense in the NFL this year. The one thing I think that the Niners cannot do that the Ravens did, I believe, and this is just my theory, I think the Ravens were trying to prove a point with Lamar Jackson. I think they wanted Lamar Jackson to throw his way to victory, to get them to the Super Bowl, to prove to all the doubters and all the haters that he's not a running back, he's a quarterback, and he is a quarterback, and he's a great quarterback. I'm not one of the people that say that, but I think that there was a little bit too much of an emphasis to try to do that, and they went away from the ground game, because when I look at this Chiefs defense, they are 4th against the pass. They are 4th, and they've allowed the 4th fewest passing touchdowns on the year, but they are 18th against the run, and they are 24th in yards per attempt allowed in the NFL. Why the Ravens didn't run the ball when Gus Edwards was averaging like 6 yards a pop and only got like 5 or 6 carries, I don't know. But if I'm the Niners, I better be running the football and continuing to, and even if I get behind a little bit, I'm running the football. I'm letting Christian McCaffrey work this team down the field, and then building off of that. Do not try to prove a point with Brock Purdy that he's not a game manager. Don't try to do something just to tick off Cam Newton. be who you are when you are at your best, and that is a bullying, dominant team, and that is how you attack the weakness of the Chiefs, in my opinion, on that defense. Because again, the Chiefs, they're going to come for you. And let me also say this: I'm not too confident about the Niners secondary being able to be too swift in this game. I do think that they got some weaknesses as well when you look at how they've played at times this year. But the biggest weapon the Chiefs have is Travis Kelce. And who's the person that I tell to lock up Travis Kelce? I'm saying Fred Warner. You stick that man at the line of scrimmage every time. Either Hafanuga, you come down, you help with that. I take away Travis Kelce and I say, Patrick Mahomes, I dare you to beat me with Rashee Rice. I dare you to beat with Justin Watts. I dare you to beat with all these guys that we know that you don't want to throw the ball to as much as you do a Travis Kelce, and then let the rest of the defense go to work. That has to be the key for the Niners. Take away Travis Kelce, run the football. But the question is, will they do it? But you were saying there's something else here that I'm missing here, James.
You said you don't think the 49ers secondary is swift enough. And I just want to make it very clear to the people what you said.
Oh, God.
Because since we're doing this game.
Oh, God.
No, I'll hold it. I'll hold it for you. But I was about to hit you. I can't believe you dropped a swift enough.
I didn't even realize I did that.
Oh, I did right away. I was like, it wasn't.
I'm not into the Taylor Swift jokes. And I have no problem with Taylor Swift. Like, I actually like her music, and I think it's cool that she got another album coming out, and I'm rooting for and all that stuff. But like, I'm not trying to drop Shake It Off and all these other jokes that everyone else does all the time. It's just not my style.
No, I get it. It was hilarious though, because you just did it, and people realized it, including me. I will say this. I totally agree with you. Christian McCaffrey is the best player on the field. I said it. Get him the damn ball.
Feed him.
By the way, guess what? If Brock Purdy gets a ring on Sunday, he can tell Cam Newton to pound sand. Yep. Doesn't matter. Like, I managed my way to this ring. That's it. Who cares?
Game managers are good players. Game managers are people that manage the field that are smart. Like
what do you think Patrick Mahomes has been in these playoffs?
That's a very good point.
People don't want to. That's what they need. Mm-hmm. That's not a knock at Mahomes. That's what this Chiefs team needs. They need a quarterback that isn't taking risks and turning the ball over, because they don't have the playmakers.
Right.
They need to punt when it's time to punt and let the defense do their thing. And that's why, if you're the 49ers, I agree with you. You have to run the ball. The biggest weakness on this on this 49ers team is the secondary. I agree with you. And I also think Chase Young, wake up. I'm snapping at you.
Yeah. He's not looking like a good trait right now.
Motivated.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that is, but it's embarrassing is what it is. You need to be motivated. And I think this 49ers team, they have a really good shot, but game manager Patrick Mahomes is tough to beat too, because he's not taking the risks. Mm-hmm. I'm serious about that. It's a very good compliment. It's showing maturity. It shows he can win a bunch of different ways. Brady was like this. He could win by scoring 50, or he would be okay just kind of settling in, managing the game, and then striking with the game on the line. And that comes with maturity. So we'll see. Let's get to some predictions, Chris, because after that, we're going to have to get into the getaway car. Oh, see what I did there? Shake that off. Let's get to our predictions coming up next.
But before we do that, I want to remind you that this show is brought to you by BetterHelp Therapy Online. BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need help in getting things off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let those things out, especially to someone who's unbiased in your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking the same thing, because James has been doing it. Personally, I'm tired of all the Taylor Swift puns. I am not tired of Taylor Swift. She can enjoy whatever football game she wants, but by God, they're not funny anymore. They weren't funny the first time. They were obviously bad puns. Stop doing them. I need to talk to my BetterHelp therapist more because of you people, including James. He's not helping my situation. But after this show, I know I can go to BetterHelp Therapy Online and talk to a therapist about my issues, because therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team or the artist that's being talked about all the time. It's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. It's the healthy thing to do, and that's where you can get healthy by going to give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon.
Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. Who will win the Super Bowl? Chris Carter. A lot of people over the past couple of weeks have said, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Well, you're darn right I'm betting against Patrick Mahomes. I think the 49ers are better. I do. And I probably tipped my hand a little bit earlier in the podcast. That's fine. I'm picking the 49ers to win this game. And I look at this roster. I look at the coaching staff. I think they're prepared to beat this Chiefs team. It'll be close, but there's a reason Brady went down in some Super Bowls. It's hard to win this game. I think that the 49ers are better. It's going to go down to the wire. Give me the 49ers by a field goal. I would say 26-23, but I think it'll be a little lower scoring than that. 23-20. The 49ers get it done and get revenge. This suddenly becomes a rivalry now with both teams winning in Super Bowls against each other.
Do you remember how the Niners lost that first Super Bowl to the Chiefs?
Jimmy Garoppolo
missing the
wide open. Emmanuel Sanders wide open.
Just
Brock Purdy
walking down the field.
Brock Purdy makes that.
Brock Purdy makes that throw. I agree. But this Chiefs defense ain't that Chiefs defense. They ain't gonna let Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk run
I'm gonna
down
shake
the field.
that off.
Yeah. God dang it. Stop it.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do it to me, man?
I hate you.
Emmanuel Sanders had a bunch of blank space in front of him, you know?
Anyways, point being, I think this Chiefs defense will know how to give the Niners fits. They're not worried about being here. They're looking and saying, "Hey, we got the best quarterback behind us. He's going to keep giving us chances to win." I think that Patrick Mahomes.
You think this Chiefs defense?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the 49ers have on offense? You think they got me and you?
I'm not doubting the 49ers offense. All I know is they needed to come back against Joe Barry's defense to have a chance to win. They needed the Lions to self-destruct quite a bit to come back to beat them. I think that this Chiefs team, not just the defense is very much a part of it, but this Chiefs team, they know their formula and they've been playing to their formula more recently. And listen, I am not doubting, like you pick the Niners, I'm all for that. I'm picking the Chiefs. I understand why you're picking the Niners. And my brain says, look, there's a big part of me that wants to pick the Niners. But when I see a team of champions, guys that know how to win, have been there a lot recently, have been doing the thing, I often take that team because that's the team that often doesn't make the self-imploding mistakes. And I just think that the Niners, their time may come soon. Maybe next year. There's just this weird feeling I got that it's the Chiefs' time to get the dynasty, to get the third ring. And listen, if the Niners do it, great story. I also think it's an interesting dynamic right now because the Chiefs kind of represent the style of building the team around the quarterback and having the superstar quarterback, whereas the Niners, they're not paying their quarterback a lot. And I think there's a lot of teams out there that last year when the Eagles lost, there were some people that said, man, if you're going to win, you need the Mahomes, you need the Josh Allen, you need the Joe Burrow, you need the superstar quarterback to be at the center of things. And not that Jalen Hurts isn't a star quarterback, but he's not in that echelon, in my opinion. And Brock Purdy isn't either. And I think that there's some people out there that are waiting to see if the Niners win, can it beat that stigma that you don't need to win with that kind of? Can you be a running team that also can do play action and make things easier for a game manager quarterback? Which again, game manager, not a slight. I don't use it as a slight. Some people do, but that's going to be an interesting thing here. And I'd even like to see the Niners win to shake things up because the Niners, even though they have 5 Super Bowls, I've never been in football watching time of my life to be able to see that. So that would be very cool for San Francisco. But all that being said, I've seen this story too many times with Tom Brady, with Patrick Mahomes, and guys that have been killers like this, and across all sports, whether it's Sidney Crosby in hockey, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Patrick Mahomes is in that conversation.
LeBron James loses in the finals.
Steph Curry.
Oh my goodness gracious! I'm not
all
saying
I'm
Mahomes
saying, man. I think the Chiefs have something up their sleeve that's going to make them a problem.
I know what you're saying. You're saying Nick Bosa, I forgot you existed.
Please. It's not about forgetting that Nick Bosa existed.
Oh, hey, you didn't realize I got you there with another Taylorism. But I did.
I don't even know. I don't be doing that kind of stuff. See,
fell into the trap. Ooh.
I hate you. This is why I need better help therapy.
That's right. That's right. Look, I think Nick Bosa is going to roast those tackles. The Chiefs tackles are, man, they are bad. I thought about, I was like, could either one play for Cincinnati next year? No, they're bad.
Let me stop myself before I got to convince myself this is a good free agent society.
Well, not good, but like I would know it wouldn't be, but I don't want to burn a bridge before the bridge is even built. That's the wrong way to go about it.
James Rapine, I saw you on Locked On NFL dissing me before the Super Bowl.
That's right. Donovan Smith is just heated, like, nah, you're a left tackle, man. They're not in the market for a left tackle. Anyways, I think I think it's going to be close. I think that's going to be close. Is that 49ers defensive front is going to get after Mahomes a bit, heat him up. I think the key for the Chiefs, obviously, you need Mahomes to play turnover free. You need Kelsey to make some plays, get Pacheco going. Because if you can do that, it's going to be hard to contain Kelsey and hard to contain Rashee Rice and hard to contain these guys with Mahomes playing the way he is.
The Niners, overall, they've given up the third fewest rushing yards in the NFL, but yards per attempt, they're 14th. I think a big part of that is because they have been up so much this year. Teams can't just pound them with the run. Teams can't do those types of things. And whereas, yes, the Chiefs have to worry about that pass rush. If I'm the Chiefs and I have Creed Humphrey up the middle, him versus Javon Hargrave and that defensive front, I'm trying to run the ball. I'm trying to do those things. And I think if the Chiefs get up, that's where I think that, again, that can be something that they lean on and poke at a weakness that the Niners have on defense if they do have a weakness. And again, that's where I see that the Chiefs, again, this is going down to the wire. This is going to be a flip of a coin. But just the feeling I got, the Chiefs are going to find a way to win. And it might even be Patrick Mahomes in the end, turning from the game manager type quarterback that he's been in most of these playoffs and making one of those insane throws to win the game. And as long as Marquez Valdes-Scantling doesn't drop it, I think they got a shot there.
Yeah, I think it's going to go down to the wire. I hope we get a great game. I'll make a bet with you. Pamela's. The loser buys Pamela's next time I'm in Pittsburgh.
Well, I was going to buy you Pamela's anyway. So sure, I'll take that bet. Pamela's pancakes, baby. Oh, man. What you can get on DoorDash.
They're so good. I would crush some right now, man.
Oh, man. I crushed some about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could DoorDash that. I can't DoorDash that all the way in Cincinnati.
Let it be known, if you come to Pittsburgh, Chris Carter will hook you up with the right food spots.
That's right. That is very true. I need to get some of that sushi, too. I forget the place, but that's
the Warren. Yes, and there's a few other spots. But anyways, this has been another great episode on the Wednesday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm Chris Carter at Carter Critiques on Twitter /X/ whatever you want to call it. He's James Rapine. Thanks again for tuning in. Find us on YouTube and on your favorite podcasting apps. Stay tuned all week long as we get you ready for the Super Bowl.